morning. How are you today? How many were here yesterday? Oh, great to see you all. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for getting up today. New exciting day. I'm the moderator, Master of Ceremonies here at WNE, the 6th edition of this World Nuclear Exhibition 2025. We have really great sessions here today, and as you know, we have great exhibitors. It's over 1,100 out there, so please visit at least half of them, will you? Okay, we're going to introduce now the first keynote speaker of today. But before I introduce him, I also want to inform you that all sessions are recorded, and also there's translation. So if you scan the QR code on the info boards you have pretty much, I think, everywhere around here, you in your earphones can pick the language you want. And some of these sessions you can find at WNE's homepage afterwards. So please do that if you're missing out of something. Now it's time to introduce the first keynote of today and the first speaker. He's from the French Nuclear Industry Association, and you saw his name earlier. Give a warm hand to the chairman, Xavier Ursat. Welcome up on stage. Give him a warm hand. Stage's yours.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear friends of nuclear, good morning, and it's a great pleasure to address today this keynote speech beginning day 2 of the WNE 2025. As nuclear energy development reaches a really good momentum, maybe the highest in decades, we as industry leaders share a collective responsibility for its success. It gives the opportunity to point out the challenges we are facing. There's no doubt that nuclear power is back and is experiencing a revival. We see that in many countries, so many countries in Europe and worldwide that are going for nuclear. It means that it's the case because nuclear answers a number of core objectives we commonly have. Tackling climate change, security of supply, reindustrialization of our economies, especially in Europe, and sovereignty. Tackling the climate change because the CO2 content of nuclear is very low, maybe the lowest CO2 content on any electricity production. Security of supply because, obviously, alongside the renewable, nuclear brings a stable, manageable source of electricity, which is indispensable in our grids. Reindustrialization, because at the same time, nuclear is an energy and an industry, with several thousand local skilled jobs on each site, around each site, and hundreds of thousands of jobs in Europe and worldwide to address our issues. And sovereignty. In this fragmented world, sovereignty becomes again a real issue, and especially for Europe, and nuclear is a way to bring sovereignty, energy sovereignty, and so economic sovereignty to Europe. Behind the huge contribution and advantage of nuclear, let's never forget one thing, which is really important. The condition for this success is electrification. It's good to go forward for nuclear, but it's better if we use the electricity we produce. At the time, electricity represents roughly 25% of the total energy consumed in the European Union. Should we want to really target net zero, this number has to reach up to 50 and even maybe 60% of the total energy consumed. So nuclear is back, but the electricity has to move forward, and we need to put a real effort on this topic. Nuclear is really back and has a real revival. I was listening and reading the media yesterday evening, and it's fun in a way to note that even if this WNE 2025 is already a success, even if altogether we see the revival, there are questions in the media. Is this revival real, or is this a dream? No, it's real. It's real, really. EDF has launched, Europe has launched major initiatives, you know that, nuclear alliance, political alliance, SMR industrial alliance. Many countries now are committed to develop nuclear. Many countries in Europe have real program. You know probably that in France, the government has launched a global nuclear program with the extension of the lifespans of current reactors, the construction of 6 and probably up to 14 EPR2, the research on new SMR, new fuel cycle facilities, R&D developments. So we have really a global program, and the 250,000 jobs we already have in the French nuclear supply chain will grow up over 300,000 in the years to come, and we need for that to hire 10,000 people a year. The scheme is the same in many other countries, and probably you saw that yesterday, the UK announced the final closing of the Sizewell C2 EPR project. To meet the expectation surrounding our industry, we have a number of challenges. The first one is probably to maintain safety. Without safety and security, there can't be nuclear success. This is the condition for the future of our energy. This is the bedrock of our public trust. The second challenge and the second issue is delivery. We saw that yesterday afternoon with the panel with a number of CEOs. We need to meet the targets, the cost, schedule target we have for all of the projects. We need to consolidate a collaborative supply chain and move probably, that was explained yesterday, from a supply chain to a value chain for nuclear in each of our country. The third challenge is industrial sovereignty. There is no energy sovereignty without industrial sovereignty. All our supply chain, especially in Europe, has to be supported. The EU's legislation is moving forward in a good way. The techno-neutral approach now is better in the EU legislation. So we have the keys in our hand. We have the key to develop and strengthen the European supply chain and bet on this European supply chain for our own European sovereignty. Financing approaches are also totally crucial. Probably this year you saw that this new agreement between the IAEA and the World Bank, which is a cornerstone for financing. The fact that World Bank will now be able to finance nuclear projects is a key lever, because other international financial institutions will go ahead, and obviously it's a good way also to get private sector financing. We have new financing strategies that are emerging, and especially hybrid public-private financing for large-scale projects with obviously appropriate risk sharing. This is the case in Sizewell C. This will be the case for the 6 EPR2 in France. We can imagine this would be the case for many projects other in Europe. And this is absolutely key if we want to target our goals. We have a number of course, of opportunities, many innovations in our sectors, advanced fuels, which are really key for the future of nuclear, digital tools for design, construction, and operation, and of course, all the course for SMR and AMR, which is really interesting and can bring new way of dealing with nuclear, with more local and new uses of nuclear. I keep in mind also the AI integration. We always and very often speak between nuclear and AI in the way nuclear produces electricity for AI. This is true, and AI desperately needs nuclear for that. But the other way around, AI is really also interesting for nuclear. We already use AI in many of our processes, and we can easily imagine that for designing, building, operating tomorrow, this could be a game changer. In conclusion, I would say that cooperation is still a cornerstone to meet the future needs of our industry. Cooperation inside the supply chain, cooperation at the European level, cooperation worldwide. Together, through strong partnerships and long-term commitments, we can ensure the success of our shared goals. Strengthening the European supply chain would give greater flexibility in terms of resources and industrial capacity, as well as a stronger and more sovereign industry. Let's not forget that the success of nuclear power is the success of both the energy transition, the energy sovereignty, and the competitiveness of our economies. For many of these issues, the leveling playing field is not only France, it's Europe. And I'm sure that consolidating a European supply chain for nuclear will be key for the future. You understand, and I said it, that finance is also key, obviously. A dedicated panel on financing will follow this keynote. This panel will explore how policy frameworks and multilateral funding can attract private investment, mitigate risks, and effectively address the sector's financial requirements to accelerate its development. Dear Michel Barthélémy, the floor is yours. Thank you for your attention.